All right, let's get you more perspective on that spectacular victory as far as Jharkhand is concerned and the big inroads that the BJP seems to have made in Jammu and Kashmir. Three very special guests join us right here on Business Tonight. Mr. Dilip Padgaonkar, Mr. Dipankar, Gupta, and above all, the Minister of State for Finance, Mr. Jayant Sinha, also right here with us. Thanks each one of you for being with us. Mr. Sinha, if I may congratulate you first. Yet another state in your kitty to win the first go. Jharkhand's next and great inroads made in Jammu and Kashmir.
Well, first of all, I'm a very exhausted person because we've been working very hard in Jharkhand, and it is a moment in time of great joy for all of us from Jharkhand that after 14 years, we finally have a stable majority government in Jharkhand, and of course, it being a BJP government, we can be assured that we are going to work for good governance and development in the state.
Yes, much of the credit for the victory in Jharkhand should go to Jayant Sinha as well. But Dilip Padgaonkar, let's bring you in. What's the big headline according to you? The fact that the Modi wave or the Modi factor, call it what you may, is still very much at play. 7 months into being in New Delhi, the Modi wave still very much there, at least in these state polls as well.
The Modi factor is still very much at play, but it no longer has the kind of sting that it had earlier. But it's still working.
Mr. Sinha, come in on that. The J&K inroads, like everybody has been talking about. While, the BJP has won in Jammu, it hasn't really registered very well in Kashmir. Has this fallen short of your expectations? You haven't got to Mission 44 like you had set out to be. I mean, India's only Muslim majority state has not endorsed you wholeheartedly.
Supriya, we are living in the middle of history. Things are changing in India in unprecedented ways. We can't even imagine what has been happening both in terms of the Lok Sabha election, where a single party after 30 years and the first non-Congress party to achieve this kind of a majority, a single party did that in May, and thereafter we've had a string of state elections, and in each state election we've broken one historical record after the other. Nobody could have anticipated in Haryana that we could go from 4 seats to 47 seats, that a party could get more than 100 seats in Maharashtra, that a Bharatiya Janata Party would get more than 40 seats in Jharkhand and form a stable government, and that the Bharatiya Janata Party would do as well as it has done in Jammu and Kashmir. These are historical results, and they are definitely giving us the momentum to continue to do the people's work, to do the people's business, and to be able to go back to the opposition and say, this is what will happen if you don't work with us in a collaborative way to do what the people have sent us to do. So I think, as I said, we are living in the middle of history. The message going out loud and clear to people around the world is that the Prime Minister is willing to put himself on the line like he did in Jharkhand, where, on the 6th of December, I did a rally with him in my own hometown of Hazaribagh, where we had 150,000 people, and he's willing to make the commitment to the people of Jharkhand, to the people of Hazaribagh, to the people of India, that he will deliver results for them, that अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं और संपूर्ण विकास में हम लोग काम करने वाले हैं. And he's doing that. He's committing to it. We are all committing to it. And I think this is the message that's going out loud and clear from India around the world.
Mr. Padgaonkar, comment on the J&K piece specifically. Mission 44, has failed. But did it really, realistically speaking, and you understand J&K politics as well, realistically, did the BJP ever stand a chance with that Mission 44?
No, there was absolutely no question that the BJP would get 44 on its own. I mean, as something to keep up the morale of the troops, as they say, that was a good standard that the BJP leadership laid. But there was never any question that it would get 44, because it would have meant, if nothing else, that they would get at least 7 or 8 seats in the valley and sweep virtually everything in Jammu. So that was nowhere on the cards. So I'm not surprised that they haven't been able to reach 44. This much said, their performance has been extremely credible and creditable, because look at what the BJP was in the last assembly elections. So they did very well in the Lok Sabha elections, and I think the segments which voted for them have by and large remained with them in Jammu. So theirs has been quite a creditable performance.
Because you've worked extensively in Jammu and Kashmir also as the interlocutor of the centre, Mr. Padgaonkar, I will have to ask you this. Who do you see the PDP gravitating towards? It's got 28 odd seats. The BJP has 25. Is that a natural ally, or will it keep the Congress engaged, and we're going to see this happen for a while?
Just look at the numbers. I mean, you take any permutation or combination which doesn't add up to 44 is not going to work. So The PDP Congress doesn't work. The PDP NC doesn't work. The only thing that will work, therefore, is a PDP BJP combination. That alone, purely in mathematical terms, that's what is going to work. And I would say that this would make sense for two reasons. One, that it would ensure that the two major regions of Jammu and Kashmir, namely the Valley and Jammu, are represented in the power structure, and also that whichever government is formed in Srinagar will have to have, an excellent relationship with the centre for all kinds of reasons, above all because of the kind of financial clout that the centre continues to wield in the state. So going purely both by the electoral arithmetic and going by the logic of the situation, I would say that a PDP-BJP coalition government makes a lot of sense to me.
Let's begin, Mr. Dipankar Gupta as well, an eminent sociologist. Mr. Gupta, what do you make of the BJP's performance in J&K? 25 seats in J&K, India's only Muslim majority state. Does it give a sense of changing voting patterns, that youth in the valley want development, healthcare and education like anywhere else in India, which is why the BJP has delivered this kind of a result?
Well, yes, of course. I think everybody wants to develop, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh, whatever. They all want to develop. Sometimes identity issues come in the way, and if many years have passed and nothing has been done on identity issues, then they tend to solidify and block clear thinking. I hope that in the years to come, we will be able to wind down on identity politics. J&K has borne the brunt of identity politics for a very long time. Of course, there are complicating factors like the border and Pakistan, the rest of it. But that has been there for a very long time. And I don't think that the BJP is going to make much headway in the valley. If it does, full marks to it. But I can tell you that people in J&K, if they're given a credible alternative, and one which does not seem to minoritize them or make them feel insecure, then they are for development as anybody else is. And why shouldn't they be? It's just that they need to have a feeling of comfort, and that feeling of comfort must be given by the party in the center, which was done, for example, in Punjab by VP Singh when he was the Prime Minister. So that kind of soothing balm has to be applied on the people of Jammu and Kashmir, especially the valley people. Otherwise, like everybody else, they all want development. And if that were done, believe me, in a few years, separatism will be a thing of the past.
All right, let's just shift focus away from Jammu and Kashmir, because the story also unfolded in Jharkhand, and which is why Mr. Sinha has been smiling. But Mr. Padgaonkar, if I may come to you, what do you make of the BJP's performance in Jharkhand? I mean, 14 years after that state was carved out of Bihar, this is the first time it will have a majority government.
I would agree with that, excepting, in an odd sort of way, the BJP, so I would have expected the BJP to do much better in Jharkhand. I did not expect the BJP to get 44 plus in J&K, but I certainly expected the BJP to be able to form a government of its own. But as you can see by the numbers, that seems difficult, not unlikely, but that seems difficult because there aren't too many independents where it can mop up support. So ironically speaking, having done so well in Jharkhand, the BJP might find it a bit difficult to form a government in that state.
All right, but what does the spectacular performance for Mr. Modi and the BJP in Jharkhand really mean for a man watching it from a very close distance? And indeed, I'm referring to Mr. Nitish Kumar in particular. Professor Gupta, would you come in on that?
You see, not just Nitish, I think all parties that had played on regional loyalties and caste loyalties should be worried. And this is the point that I've been trying to make for maybe decades. The fact is that when people vote for regional or regional or caste lines, they do it as a kind of a fallback alternative. If a credible national party is in place, the first option is to vote for the national party. We saw this with Rajiv Gandhi's election, for example, in '84. We saw it again with Modi in 2014. In between, there were years when the caste parties and regional parties were having a whale of a time, primarily because there was no credible alternative in the center. And once this credible alternative comes up, either from the Congress side or from the BJP side or from wherever, people want to vote for that national party. It is very interesting that though India is made up of several states with different languages in each of them, caste and religion, the rest of it, it's very interesting that the Indian nation state has a strong unitary bond about it, which cannot be explained by reason, but can be explained by emotion. There is a strong emotional bond. People do want Indian nation state to be an Indian nation state, a unified whole, and they're thinking of India, as one entity. I found this to be true even during the dark days of, say, the Punjab crisis. People really wanted the Punjab problem to be over and India to be one. I suppose once Modi is able to establish his credibility as a stable national alternative to all the regional parties around, those parties will have to scurry for cover. But if Modi doesn't deliver, and we have to make sure that the NDA does deliver, if NDA doesn't deliver, there will be an alternative national party. If that doesn't happen, then these regional parties will again come out of the woodwork and again, make a lot of noise and hold back development in every possible way.
Fair point. Jayant, Sinha, you'll have the last word. You have the first word and you'll have the last word today as well. Maharashtra, then Haryana, now Jharkhand, a possibility of a BJP coalition in J&K as well with the PDP. What does all of this mean really for the government in New Delhi?
The victories mean that the people have spoken clearly for good governance and development. In state after state, we are seeing that people are rejecting the politics of division, the politics of caste, of religion, and are embracing and are delivering very, very solid majorities for the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is clearly seen, and the Prime Minister, who himself is clearly seen as the symbol of good governance and development. And that should be a message that should go out to the opposition. They should realize that their very counterproductive obstructionist tactics are being watched by the people of India. The people of India have sent all of us as politicians, as legislators, to get their work done. And if you're not getting their work done, as it should be quite obvious, they're firing us if we don't deliver for them. That's our job. I come from the private sector and I have a very strong performance orientation, and I know that if we are accountable and that we have said to people, we've made promises to them and we've told them we'll do the work, if we don't deliver and we don't provide the results that they're looking for, they're very apt to fire us. And I think that is the way it should be in a democracy. That is the accountability that democracy creates. I, for one, am determined to do whatever I can in my constituency. That is, one of my most important priorities is to bring good projects back to the people of Hazaribagh, to be there for them at their time of need. And I think that is really what people want of us. And so if the opposition continues in this fashion, I think they'll continue to find that they're being rejected in state after state, in election after election.
All right, we do hope that many more politicians think like this as a private sector job where you can be hired and fired according to your performance. Thanks very much, each one of you, for being with us right here on Business Tonight to take us through some more perspective of the state assembly elections and the impact on national politics.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.